using your SMSF to generate an extra income stream. So when thinking about your SMSF, your self-managed super fund, it's important to firstly consider the correct advice or not on setting it up. Is it the right thing for you? Do you have enough balance? And for that, you can check in with your accountant, financial advisor, and then go from there. Now, once you've got that decision down packed, and should you decide to go and set it up, this is where property investing can really help within that environment. Commercial property is an example of an asset class that's really helped people in their SMSF to generate an extra income stream. Now think of this for a moment. Before the property, you kind of have two streams of income from an SMSF anyway. Number one is your mandatory contributions from the income that your employer puts away. You actually don't even recognize that it's going there because you've always been living on the net income in your bank account. So when you have this next amount go through your super, you always knew it was going to be for your future. But now when the self-managed super fund, you get to see that coming in and really start to recognize that that's an income stream on its own. The second income stream is the difference in tax rates between money you make outside of super and money you make inside super. So that difference alone is an improved income stream from there. The next part is putting it to work. That's the money from your income that's going into there as contributions, the reduced tax rate, and then putting that together to buy an actual asset. I want to give you a breakdown of a commercial property example for one of our clients that we purchased and how that's impacting his and his partner's self-managed super fund. Number one is just under $180,000 went towards this property purchase. The purchase was for $400,000 and it's an industrial property in the northern suburbs of Brisbane. It had a brand new lease of 3 by 3, which pretty much means it's a new 3-year lease and it had a 3-year option for the tenant to take it up again. Now with this business here, the asset itself was also not too old. It was built in the 2000s, which means there was some depreciation claimability from a tax perspective. Now with this property, it had a loan of just under 65%. And what that did for us is it reduced the amount of repayments to that property as well, being a low loan to value ratio, being a 25-year loan term, and also being interest only. Now, don't get me wrong, interest rates aren't amazing in the self-managed super fund environment, but when you've got a longer loan term and you've got a bigger deposit, you don't feel the pinch of that interest rate as much. With this property, the net rental yield was over 7% per annum. That's huge because that 7% per annum, even if you had 4 or 5.5% mortgage rates, it still gives you a big chunk of income when you take away a debt of only 65%. The numbers, over $10,000 per annum positive cash flow. If you put that on principal and interest, it covers itself and pays off the whole property in just under 14 years. So when you think of 11, 12 or 13 years, an asset pays itself off, assuming interest rates and all those things of a tenant being there as well, then you've pretty much got a massive cash cow. This generating machine of just constant cash flow once the debt's paid, or even if you want to keep the debt alive, it's still there. Now hold on a minute, commercial property can be risky. What about all the downsides? You're forgetting of the two other income streams to insulate that. One is the constant money flowing through from your employer to go into your self-managed super fund. And number two is the discounted tax rate, making that income a little bit more than it normally would be. So when you think of that income stream, self-managed super fund is a powerful tool to generate that. So whilst you're working on your asset base outside of it, you've got the self-managed super fund doing things for your long term, but with high cash flow assets, doing things optimized, and those that will really, really give you an income stream that you're looking for in your retirement years, or in your later years, as I like to call it. So thinking of SMSF to generate an income stream can be big because it does work for you that you'll really appreciate in the long term. But most importantly, this isn't advice. It's important to speak to your accountant and financial advisor, know all your options, and should it be self-managed super fund, should it be property through there, we'd be more than happy to talk to you about it in more detail.